So I want the waiting woman to know that her feelings on her hard days are valid. What I also want you to know is God is just as good on your difficult days as he is on your best days. Um, the God who is going to bless you with the desires of your heart, whatever they may be, is just as good as the God that is allowing you to wait.
Welcome to Be Real with Sarah, where the B may sting and the real never dies. Hey guys, we are back for another episode, y'all. Welcome to Be Real with Sarah, where the B may sting, but the real never dies. Y'all, I feel like in this episode, we're kind of like, y'all see some improvements. Your girl got, she got her little mic. I just feel so official, y'all. I'm just so excited. All right, listen. So y'all have been rocking with me for the past, I don't know, few weeks, right? Just me and you, we having a conversation. I'm talking about leveling up and how to be on, kind of go from one place to the next place and praying and, being uncomfortable and all of the things. We've been really doing some hard work really over the past few months. All right. But today we have some company, and I love when we can bring company into the hive. Okay. Because what's storytelling, what's community, right, without other people? All right. And so before we even bring this guest, because y'all, I am beaming with excitement, seriously, and haven't even been knowing this person for a very long time, but I feel like when kindred spirits come together, it's like, man, you are family already. But I want to pose a question. All right. I want you to ask yourself, how uncomfortable, okay? How uncomfortable are you willing to be, all right, to really walk into the things that you have been praying for? All right. Ask yourself, like, am I really ready to be uncomfortable, to maybe sometimes maybe not be settled in, all of the luxuries of things that I've been able to afford myself and all of my lifestyles and all the changes and things that I've been able to make for myself? How willing are you able to adapt to some changes, all because you have been praying for certain things to God, and he says, all right, bet, I'm going to give it to you, but this is what this is going to look like. All right. Think about that. I know that kind of feels a little uncomfortable, even that question, but this particular guest really is walking into some things that she has prayed for some time. And just through her social content, it had me even thinking about the things that I have been praying for in this season. I'm like, oh, do I really want to be uncomfortable to really walk down that lane? So y'all, welcome the most amazing media personality, podcaster, wife, woman of God, all the things. Lish, come on, welcome on to Be Real with Sarah. I'm super excited to have you.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm hype. I'm excited. We're going to chat.
we're gonna chat, and I'm gonna also kind of like, people be like, pick your brain. I'm gonna pick your brain because you're kind of walking in the season that I've been kind of praying for. And I'm like, do I really want to do that, or do I really want to enjoy my single life over here where it's quiet and it's comfortable and I can do whatever I want to do when I want to do it, and I ain't got to go nowhere because I don't have to answer to nobody. You know what I'm saying?
That is
So
true.
that is, that's that comfortable single life. So how are you doing? You look great.
Thank you. I'm doing very well. I'm in a season personally of transition. My husband and I left Atlanta several months ago and moved to New Jersey for his job. And it has really been transformative. That's the word that I keep using and I keep thinking of. It's been a season where I have had to really contend with what I want and how hard I'm willing to work for it. Because sometimes you think you want something, but that's because, or you think you're working hard at something, but it's because things are coming to you kind of easily. And then I realized, oh, there's some things that I gotta really put my money where my mouth is now that I'm in a different market. So that's what I've been doing, just working it out.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's interesting that you said that. Because leaving Atlanta from like 8 years and really adjacent more years than that, because from college I would travel out there, so I was so familiar with the area. So we'll just say maybe 15 years to go to a completely different market in Dallas, Texas. You're talking about the flashing lights, the celebrity red carpets, everybody want to be seen, all the flashy things like that. And people are like, huh, who are you? That don't matter to me. That's cool. We chilling over here. We got our 40 acres in the land, baby. We don't need all of that, honey. We got some real wealth over here. It is such it's such a difference. And what's so funny, what I really like about why I'm so excited when we talk about transformation, and so for those that are like, how did y'all even meet? Because some people, I like to get a history. Is, y'all know that I'm a publicist, and so my job is to get opportunities for clients. And so, Lish, I feel like we met. Was it at Stellar's that we met? Okay.
Yep.
We met at Stellar's, and what I like about Lish, and is so different when it comes to like publicists and media, is that Lish was very nice. She was very welcoming. And it wasn't just because she wanted to interview that particular client. It was that's just her personality. And it's so warming to meet and talk to somebody, or a journalist is like, yeah, hit me up. And so we kind of bragged about you as a team, was like, it don't matter. When we were talking about the interview, we were like, man, her personality, don't matter what type of spirit you come in. I didn't even know that you were in a transition at the moment that you were moving. I was like, man, her person, it don't matter what spirit you have, she's still going to exude above all of that. And we bragged about that about you.
Oh, I love that. That means so much to me, because even the day we met at the Stellars was a difficult day. Red carpets are a lot. And then, I'll just give you a quick one. Got to the Stellars, was supposed to do the red carpet. Told I'm not doing the red carpet. Told we're going to put you up in the media room with radio, given this tiny little space. Now I'm there with 3 cameras, mics, a DJI, so 4 cameras. I'm ready to, I'm ready to work.
You're ready to do.
And I had to pivot, and have a good attitude. And then someone did some little snake stuff that day and kind of wiggled their way on the carpet and didn't include me when we were supposed to be working for the same, outlet. Like it was just a lot going on. And I really do pride myself on, one, do unto others, right? So my attitude is the attitude I want people to have with me, right? And then I also am really, really big on the fact that I believe God has placed me in whatever room, any room. It could be the doctor's office, waiting room. I'm talking any room. He has placed me there because there's something that I'm supposed to bring to that room, right? So when I'm interacting with people, I do it from that lens, right? Because then why are you here? He could have had me anywhere. You know what I mean? And so I really do try. I really do try. And a lot of people have told me, I came to this interview tired, or I was annoyed, I was frustrated, and I ended up having a great time. And I always really, really take that to heart.
Yeah. And be real with her, we just keep it real. I think that's why we talked about that, because as a PR team publicist, we look for everything, because the goal is to listen to the questions, listen to the client's responses, etc., all of the things, so that we can get feedback. And I always learn new things about clients. I even learned things about just even interviewing with the podcast. And we noticed there were some areas of someone's not feeling good, someone's not at their best, but somebody is at their best, even though you were dealing with your transitions and all the things. So that's so interesting that you said that, because I said, yeah, she rose to the occasion, even though I'm sure she kind of felt like her mood ain't the best. But we was like, well, we found out why the mood wasn't the best. And we're like, okay, that's what it is. But thank God we had a great interviewer that really rose to the occasion. So yeah,
that's my job. It is the talent's job was done before they got here, else they wouldn't be here. The talent did their job by being talented. The talent did their job by making the album that they're promoting, or the tour that they're promoting, or the book that they're promoting. Would I like them to come in with a great attitude? Yes, but they already did their job. My job is to create an interview space that's safe for them, that has them leave feeling better than they came in, and that ultimately provides my audience and their audience with value. right? So that's my job. And that's what I'm gonna do, every single time. Now, I've met with people and I'm like, I don't ever need to interview that person again. You know what I mean? Like, did it, it's done. But that's rare. That doesn't happen often. And it didn't happen in that case. I love, I love,
Yeah.
I love. Yeah, but that has happened when I'm like, all right, well, that was not pleasant. You know what I mean? But my viewers would never know that once as they're watching the content, whether that's a red carpet interview or a podcast. My viewers would never know. One, because I'm having a good time. Nobody can.
Yeah.
I tell people, I love my home. I live in a beautiful space with a husband who takes stellar care of me. If I leave that space, I'm gonna have a good time. There's nobody who can make me have a bad time. You just can't make me have a bad time because I could have stayed home and had a great time. So if I got dressed, put on makeup, got my hair done, potentially paid to get my makeup done if I'm really feeling fancy, put on an outfit, you and your bad attitude can't make me have a bad time. It's not even possible. I'm going to have a good time. You can join me on
Listen, you know what? We all need to just sit in right there because it's a lot of things that you said, and everybody got to learn a lot about what you do. But one, I learned so much just listening to you. You had to, in the midst of basically somebody not really treating you right, treating you fair, not doing what was agreed or what was planned, you had to pivot in the midst of adversity. That's what I got from that. You had to literally turn, make lemonade out of something that was not presented in all the ingredients. And so I think yes, that's it. And something that we don't want to do is that we will allow somebody else's spirit, their personality, to literally take over it could be interview, environment, conversation. But you said something so profound. You was like, I already got a great space. So when I leave this place, I'm gonna make it's gonna be even better because I'm not gonna allow. That is the issue with a lot of us. At Be Real with Sarah, we talk about going from stuck to momentum. That right there just kind of taught us like that is really how you move from being stuck and keep going. It's not allowing your circumstances to change how you feel, how you are. That's so good.
Yeah,
that is so good. I love it.
That's
I
what I
love
live
it.
by.
I love it.
That's how I roll.
Oh my goodness. So I want to talk about you made a post and it really stuck to me. And this is about like, a lot of us that we want the more. We've been praying, we've been walking into that. And I feel like even though you're in a transformative space, there were areas and times where, and you can probably admit that it wasn't the most comfortable. Like if you really had it your way, you had to pick it out on a platter, you was like, oh God, we ain't have to do it like that, bro. But you said something that kind of really got me was about marriage and the type of advice that we get from people that have been married. What was it? Being married for a long time and being single. So I want you to kind of talk me about your journey from waiting and praying to actually walking into what you're experiencing now.
Yeah. Yeah, I love telling this story. I love my love story. It's one that God wrote. And I also love my love story because I'm very clear that as much as I thought I was ready earlier, if I had met my husband, I'd probably even say 10 days, 10 minutes, 10 months before I met him, things might have gone differently because I really wasn't ready. And I think that it is so encouraging for women who have had to wait. I was 35 when I got married. I'm 38 now. To know that it's worth the wait, to know that God is not holding out on you. And a post that I made recently, was encouraging women who are over 30 to get themselves around some women who have had to wait. Because a lot of the struggle that I see in people is that they are around people who got married much earlier than them. And it makes them feel worse about the fact that they are not married yet. And so a part of my journey was that although I had friends who had gotten married much younger, friends who had gotten married at 25, 24, 23, I also had women in my life and have women in my life who lived very full lives and got married later or still are not married yet. And so it just gave me perspective that life goes on. Life is more than marriage. As a married woman, I can tell you life is more than marriage. And, I think it really informed the type of wife I am. I think one of the things that my husband loves most about me, and one of the reasons, here's the way you keep a man obsessed with you, honey. Have your own thing, okay? I have my own thing. I'm my own person. I am who I am when I walk into a room. With him, without him. I am who I am, and I think that he I know this to be true, actually. I don't think it. He wants to provide a life for me because he knows how I was living before I met him. So he's like, all right, you've been to Africa 3 times before you met me. All right, I'm taking you to Milan. Like, I'm taking you, like, you're not gonna, I'm gonna show you, you know what I mean, why I'm here, why God put me in your life. And amongst other things, like even just, okay, you worked so hard before you met me and you had to handle everything on your own and you did this and that. I'm going to make sure that you don't have to stress. I'm going to make sure that you don't have to worry about certain things. Spiritually, you were the leader, the one, the da-da-da. I'm going to make sure that I lead you spiritually. I'm going to make sure that you're covered in prayer and that you're not just covering everybody else. I'm going to make, so just different areas of my life where I feel like my husband shows up big. Were the areas that I was already showing up big for myself. And because he's a man, he's like, I got this. I'll take over. It's like a man seeing you carry a bunch of luggage in the airport. And they're like, let me help you. I got this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that that's kind of where he's at. And then there are ways that he shows up small, right? Because God knows that I have a different gifting over that area, and I could cover him because men need to be safe too, right? And so I think that our story is one that obviously God is still writing, and I pray he writes it for many, 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 many. Let me tell you something. One of my biggest prayers, I'm like, Lord, don't take this man. I waited for him. Leave him on this earth as long as humanly possible. So I pray that he is writing our story for years and years and years and years to come. But man,
Yeah.
I am so grateful for my season of waiting, because I think it makes me a stellar wife. I think it makes me the wife my husband deserved. I wouldn't have been, I was not this woman. He always laughs. He's like, I can't even imagine some of the stories I tell him about how I was before I met him. He's like, I can't even imagine you behaving that way. I said, good. I don't even want you to know that version of me, because I was always the girl who had a good time no matter where she went. I was the girl that held the door for you, and if you didn't say thank you, I'm flying off the handle. I was the girl that if you got an attitude with me, I was matching energy. I was, that's who I used to be. He doesn't even know that version of me, and I pray he never does, because I've repented and I've grown, But if he would have met me when I was in that season, the type of, my husband wouldn't, he don't play that. He would have been like, you are not emotionally regulated and you need to go heal. He wouldn't even pay me any attention because he's just not, he's too mature, of a guy. And he's younger than me, funny enough, but he's way more mature than me. I call him an adult max plus, and I'm just an adult.
I mean, that says a lot for us that are, even when I posed a question at the top of the episode about being how uncomfortable are you willing to be to walk into what you pray for? And a lot of us are frustrated in the waiting. The waiting has been years for some people, and some of the waiting just been 4 months of this year. And so we are frustrated for real.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, especially those that are still living off of prophecies that have been spoken over their lives. They're like, Lord, what is it? And so you said something that was so important, and we have to do some self-evaluation. Is our attitude right? Because I hear from you is like there was a lot of attitude changes in how you evolved in your attitude. Like that's a big part of any type of relationship, like friendship. If that attitude is not right, how can God give you the best? He is, and that's something I be like, my prayer, I be praying for this man. I don't know who this man is, but I be praying. I got a list. I'm gonna keep praying. I literally like praying because I know I can be a lot. Like I know I'm definitely princess over here, only child. I can do better. All the things, right? But I'm also, and I know you're a hardworking person. I'm like, man, I've built all of this, like but I also want somebody to help me and things like that. So what you're saying is like, I had to do some self-evaluation myself. Like, and I've actually talked to other married women, like, your personality, like your attitude, like all those things do have to shift. So I want to ask you, from being a single woman, building the things that you built, your career and all, what were some of those uncomfortable adjustments that you had to make going into that season, from waiting to like really walking into marriage?
Yeah. I think so. There's two that came straight to my mind, but one I think is unexpected. I had to make the adjustment of being pure, right? And I don't even want to I hate to use the word pure because purity culture is weird, but I had to make the adjustment of not having sex. Let's just call that what it was, when there was somebody to have sex with, right? I was a virgin when I got married, but for much of my life, there wasn't nobody to have sex with, right? I had guys, I liked them, they liked me, but it wasn't that kind of party, right? When I fell in love with my husband, I was like, oh, you can't sleep with him until y'all get, like, it became, the virgin thing was like not fun no more. I mean, it wasn't fun before that because I was getting older, but it really, I was like, wait, it's easy to not have sex and to have all these rules and whatever. And when I started dating my husband, I was like, I don't think I want to kiss like in my relationship. And he was like, if you think I'm gonna be in a relationship with a woman and not kiss her, you don't know me. Like, you know what I mean? He was a virgin as well. But he was like, I'm gonna kiss you. Like, we're not being weird. You know what I mean? Like, we have self-control. We're grown people. We don't have to be in here making out and filling each other up, but I'm supposed to never kiss you? That doesn't make sense, right? And I was like, I just don't know, because I didn't trust myself. Because I was like, if we start kissing, we gonna go all the way. And he was like, listen, we'll have boundaries. So we had talks and we had boundaries and whoop-de-woo and don't be alone at this time and this and that. And we did what worked for us, right? I have friends who did not kiss until they got to the altar. Several. I have a couple of friends like that. And I had friends who were never alone in an apartment together before they got married. My husband, boyfriend and fiance, before he came, my husband was like, I'm grown. I have my own place. You have your own place. We're supposed to never be in an apartment together. Like, I'm not doing that, So that was an adjustment. That's an adjustment that people don't talk about, because it's easy to be like, I'm abstinent and I'm doing it God's way and I'm pure, when you ain't got nobody in your face every day. But when you have a man that you're attracted to, or in the brother's case, a woman that you're attracted to, and then you got to hold that down. So that was an adjustment. We made it to marriage, honey. It was a struggle, okay? It was hard, but we made it. Praise the Lord. The second adjustment was after we got married, and during the process of, premarital and all that, planning a wedding, is having to really talk with someone about your finances, about your lifestyle. I was, and I've spoken about this on my podcast a little bit, I was a big spender. I want to go, I'm going. I want to buy, I'm buying. I want to treat my friends, I'm treating. I want to, and it wasn't working out for me. It's not like it was going well. That's just what I was doing. So when he got a hold of my lifestyle, of my credit score, let's keep it real, of my situation, he was, okay, I love you and I'm going to take care of you and I'm going to provide for you. But we got to bring it in. You can't have every bag. You can't have every sneaker. You can't go on every trip. When you go to lunch with people, you can't always pay. Why do you think you're supposed to always pay? Like, he really got on to me about some things, because that's just how I am, every time you go to Sephora, you don't have to buy 7 things. You can buy 1 thing, like, he just really, and that was an adjustment for me, because although it was unwise, it was my normal, and then also it was to be that vulnerable with someone, because when you're single, your friends know what's going on and your family may know, but you kind of, you're doing what you want to do. There's no one seeing your monthly bank statement or your credit card bill. It's just you, so when you're entering a life with someone, and some married people don't do this, but that's their business. I was completely, completely transparent with my husband about everything. Here's my stuff. And he was completely transparent with me. And we got in each other's accounts and we joined the accounts we were going to join and whatever. And this is when we were paying for the wedding. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so this is what I'm going to do, whatever the case may be. And, he had to show me, okay, this is where my stocks are at. And I didn't have no stocks. So, I'm already like, all right, well, mind you, he's 4 years younger than me. So even that, I was just feeling like, oh man, like, I felt insecure and he had to help me he's like, baby, we about to be one. Like, what's mine is yours. Don't worry about what you did before me or didn't do before me. I got you. I'm going to teach you what I need to teach you and whatever. So it was a different level of vulnerability is what I'm trying to say. A different level of vulnerability, a different level of responsibility, and it really prepared me for the way that we dated and went through our premarital really prepared me for the type of marriage we would have.
Wow. Well, I gotta go back to I've been stuck on I wanna go all the way back to where first off, where did you meet this man? Where a virgin. Like, and then I think what I want to know is from someone, because there's people that listen, and I've been transparent on the podcast about the virgin days. There is no virgin over here, but there is a desire to definitely lock it down until the man of God comes. But how did you make that decision that you just that you say, hey, I'm gonna wait until marriage?
Yeah. So I made a decision in a very naive time in my life. And I laugh because I feel like if God didn't get to me at a young age, he probably would have never got me. And I believe some people need to have a story before they come to the Lord. Some people need to get sat down and you're still going to have your story, but it's going to be a different story. So I became a Christian when I was 14 years old and like a disciple. Like before people were even using the word disciple, I was using the word disciple. My church was using the word disciple. And I was serious about God. I was a serious teenager about God. Fun, cool, but I was serious. So I made the vow at 14 when I studied the Bible and decided, that I was going to be a disciple, that I would wait until marriage. I thought I was going to get married 22, 23, 24. I really didn't think I was going to have to wait that long. So I was like, sure, of course I'll wait until I get married. Jesus is Lord. I want to be, obedient to him. Sure. And it was cool. So about 27, 28. And I was like, okay, what's happening? I felt like all my friends started getting married. People who I had helped become Christians who were younger than me were getting married. And it was really a struggle for me. And when people ask me, how did I stay the course? I told on myself. I just told on myself. When I had temptation, when I struggled with pornography, when I struggled with masturbation, I just told on myself. I got women who were older in my life and said, hey, I'm struggling with this, right? And I love coming to church and I love serving and I love being in ministry and whoop-de-woo, but it's not taking away my desire to have sex. Okay? That's not working. All the things y'all said will work, it's not working. You know what I mean? And especially when I hit 30, because 30 hormonally, no one tells you. And this is why I be trying to tell the girl. The hormones are gonna come and smack you in the face at 30. And so I really had to get real help. I had to be very honest. I tell people all the time, I celebrate that I made it to marriage as a virgin, but that did not take me away from being hurting God in different ways in my purity. You know what I mean? Pornography hurts God. Masturbation is you taking your pleasure into your own hands and saying, God, you're taking too long. I'm going to take care of this myself. And that's controversial. Not everybody believes that. And that's fine. For my life and my conviction, it was me taking my pleasure into my own hands and taking my impatience into my own hands for me. Y'all read your own Bibles and come up with your own conviction on that, right? I had to really get help and say, this is a struggle for me. And I have to get help, And so thankfully, was around women who value, their own purity, their own struggle, their own story. We were very honest and open with each other. Um, and I really got the help that I needed. I did not want to be preaching and teaching and yet going
Mhm.
home and looking at and doing things in the dark that weren't honorable to God in the light. And so that's how. Just telling. I tell people, tell on yourself. You slip up and you go sleep with somebody. Go tell somebody. Don't keep it to yourself. You slip up and you watch something. It don't have to be purity related. You cuss somebody out at the light because they taking too long. Tell somebody. Confession. You know what I mean? Get somebody in your life who can tell
Mm.
you, girl, how's that going? You know what I mean? How's it going? You good? Even in
Yeah.
marriage, I'll be very, very vulnerable with you. There's a selected couple who I will talk to if my husband and I had any sexual issues, or if there was in marriage, as I would guess in any sexual relationship, this is just the only one I've had. There are times where you may feel off as a woman, like I'm just not feeling it, or
Hmm.
he wants it more than I do, or I want it more than he does. There's ebbs and flows, right? This is stuff that nobody told me. Well, one person told me before I got married. And that one person, they're the couple that she's the wife that I would go to and say, hey, I'm just feeling this, or I'm feeling that, or whatever, whatever. And so even in that, I tell myself, even in that, I'm like, girl, I ain't rocking like I need to be rocking these days. And I feel bad, like I'm just vulnerable. You know what I mean? I just keep it
Yeah.
honest. And I think that's what helped me. I didn't know that my husband was a virgin, and I didn't care. In fact, I used to say I don't want to marry a virgin because somebody got to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But baby, we knew what we was doing. We was all right. we figured it out. I'm so sorry, mom and dad. My parents watch everything I do, and I know they're gonna watch this and be like, "Girl, what are you talking about?" I'm
They're
sorry.
gonna be like, now wait a minute.
I've never said this stuff anywhere else. So um,
Yes.
but I didn't really care if he was a virgin or not. And for a long time that we were dating, I didn't know that he was a virgin. I forgot what happened. I have to ask him. Maybe he remembers. There was some interaction we had, and I went, "Are you a virgin?" Like, because I just was something he said. I don't remember what it was, but it was something that made me think, "Oh my gosh, you might be a virgin," because we wasn't talking about our sexual history and past. We were just,
Yeah.
getting to know each other, as friends for a couple of months before he officially asked me to be his girlfriend. Um, and so once I found that out, I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But
Wow.
it's a beautiful story. And I hope this doesn't embarrass him, but I really do love knowing that I'm the only woman he's been with. It's very reassuring for me. I'm like, yeah, that's mine.
No, I love that. I love that. Like y'all locked in, like
Yeah,
me and you, like number one. I
yeah,
love that for
yeah,
you. And
yeah. But that wasn't a
I know
requirement.
people.
God just did that.
Yeah. 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 I mean, it's one, those conversations really should not at all really be happening. Like you said, you guys were just dating, getting to know each other character wise,
Yeah,
what you like, don't like. But the sexual conversation is definitely like that. Should not be happening in the beginning. So of course you would know. But what I loved about it was that you said quite a few things that we as believers, or just in our, even if you'd say you're trying to figure out your Christian or faith walk with the Lord, is that people, a lot of us don't have a safe space or people to even go to have these vulnerable conversations. And if we talk about, we want to really be real, we really want to be free or delivered, we want to change, the only way, and you said it's just so clearly, was that you have to let it out, whether that's tears, whether that's frustration. And I love that you have a safe space, because a lot of people do not have relationships to even run to. I think that's why we see a lot of depression and mental health issues, is because they don't have an outlet. And I think that's what you were saying that you found. That's really insightful for sure.
yeah. No, I wouldn't be the woman that I am without it. So many women are struggling, whether it be sexual, relationships after they become Christians, or whether it be pornography addiction, masturbation, drugs, whatever, right? You become a Christian, you struggle with these things, and then you feel even more lonely because you're like, I'm not supposed to be doing this. I'm not supposed to still have this temptation. I'm not supposed to still have these struggles. I'm supposed to be saved. I'm supposed to be delivered. So people go into hiding because they're ashamed that they're still struggling with these things as a Christian. But there is no deliverance in hiding. You know,
Mm.
my deliverance came from the Lord, obviously, but also from the people he chose to help me, to talk me through, to help me get to the bottom of what I was actually looking for, to help me get to the bottom of what I was actually feeling. You know what I mean? And I remember one of the biggest pieces of advice that an older woman gave me, and I talk about, needing friends who are older than you, was that you need to start talking about things at the temptation level. Don't let the devil get you all the way to sin, right? If you tempted to do something crazy, call me then. She said, call me when you tempted. I know that's weird to say, girl, I'm tempted to go talk to this guy, sleep with this guy, watch this thing, do this thing. But she said, it's easier for me to help pray you out of it in the temptation than for you to have to deal with the consequences of the sin. There's consequences attached to sin, period. God loves us. He loves us down, but he's our dad. And when you do wrong, if you have a real living dad or mom or parental figure, there are consequences. Even on a basketball team, you miss certain things, you show up late, you got to run, you got to do push-up, you got to do that. That's just anyone who loves you. There's consequences. And the Bible talks about us sinning sexually is the only sin that we sin against ourselves. And so when I was struggling, like I said, I didn't meet my husband until I was 33. We got married at 35. Like I said, around them late 20s, it got real testy. I was struggling, and I remember talking to and this is a beautiful thing about age. I remember talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, "Yo, I'm just gonna sleep with the next guy that I like. Like, enough. I'm done." Right? I didn't really mean that. I really didn't mean that, but I was just having a day. You have a day where you're like, "This Christian thing is too much." I was 29. I had been through some things. I had been hurt. I had some church hurt. I had some people hurt, and I was like, "Yo, I'm tired. I'm tired of being the good girl. I'm tired. I'm tired." And my friend, who was not, I wouldn't say not a believer, but definitely not like a heavy practicing, go to church Christian, da da da. She said, okay, so, and then what? Okay, you're going to sleep with somebody, and then what? She said, you're going to hate yourself the next day. She said, I know you. I've known you almost your whole life. If you go have sex with some guy, you're going to hate yourself the next day. She saved my life. That conversation saved my life. And that wasn't no church mother, church person. That was just a regular friend keeping it straight with me. She said, first of all, sex is not that great the first time. This is what she said to me.
Oh, yeah. She
said, it's not that great the first time. She said, and you're going to be so angry at yourself. Because she said, if you were going to do, I was 29. She said, if you were going to do this, you should have did it when we was young. She was like, now? She was like, you're too cognizant now. You're an adult. She was like, you're going to be so angry with yourself because you've waited this long. She saved my life. She saved my life spiritually. She might have saved my life physically. I don't know what would have happened. What could have happened in that transaction? But she saved my life spiritually. And even with my husband and I, one of the reasons that we made it to marriage is because we knew, wow, we've waited this long. Let's not waste it. Let's not just, we waited. We told, he became a Christian at a young age. We told God we would wait. We waited. Let's just wait, and it really helped us. Now we had to get open and honest and with people. And when it was hard, it was hard. And when I told people, and there were some days it's like, I'm not coming over today. Because if I see you today, it's on. So some days I didn't see him. Some days he didn't see me.
Yeah.
Some days we'd be 2 hours into a date and it's like, all right, I'm going to take you home. I'm like, we just got here. He's like, yeah, it's time for us not to be together. And it really was him. Because
yeah, you was ready to
pushing it, and he was like, yo, what are you like? One time he looked at me, he was like, yo, what are you trying to do right now? Like, what you trying to do to me right now? Like, stop, like, I'm telling you all the business, girl.
I love it. I love, girl.
He was like, yo, what are you trying to do right now? Like, stop it. Like, stop. Like, yo, like, chill. You got to chill, And I was like, yeah, let me go home.
I
But
love it.
that's a man of God that I married, right? That man
That's
loves
oh yeah.
the Lord.
That's a leader. That is a leader. He can hold his own, okay? And
Lord.
he's boundary king in my world. Like
That
you are the king
Lord.
of boundaries because
That
you
man loves
but
the Lord.
that's the only way. That's the only way is boundaries. So,
Yeah.
something that I know now you're 38. You said,
Yes.
is it 38? Because you said, yep, okay.
38. 38.
And you
Child.
38, girl. So you got you got 38 years. So we got, we're at an age or a time. I'm a little bit younger than you, not too much younger, but
Yeah.
I am in my 30s.
That's younger.
Just
I
a
love that.
little bit younger.
That reminds me of the Real Housewives
um,
sound that everybody be using about Phaedra and Nene in high school. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
oh yeah. Yes, I know exactly the sound. But yes, a little bit younger. And a lot of my friends are older. So like at least it gotta be like 30. Well, I'm thinking of a few like 36, 37, but majority of them are older. So I get a lot of, you would say, and plus my parents they're older too. So I've just had this life where I've just been around older people. So I get a lot of just wisdom from those different type of, because I mean, imagine being in your early 30s to your late 30s. But one thing that you said that that you believe that he loves about you is that you have your own thing. And so, on the podcast we talk about business, life, and beyond. And so I really want to tap into, because like I said, I see you in a media space, but I want other women that are maybe in their 30s or late 30s. You have such just great personality, but let's talk about like your day to day, how you were able to kind of move and shake in your industry, and then like the ages or the time of like areas where, you know what, because this is like a season of pivot, Lish. Like people are pivoting
Yes.
what they normally do or what they have done. And so by 38, I know you've seen seasons of pivots. And so let's kind of talk about that with your career and your life.
Absolutely. I love this question. I never get to talk about this stuff, so I'm very happy. But so I started out in the music industry. I was a rapper, a Christian rapper, but we weren't pitching me that way. And even that was late to some people. I was 25 when I started that. And this was back when you wasn't supposed to rap past 30, right? How dumb was that? But that was a thing at a time in the music industry. And so I was in the music industry. I was writing for other artists, get great relationships with A&Rs, sending in music for artists, some artists that you guys know. And I was creating my own project. I had a project out called Melanated. And this was in 2015. I was a BET Music Matters artist. I did all the things, right? Google it. Just Google Lish Speaks. And you'll see some stuff from back then. And when I met my husband we met on a blind date, that my best friend set up. And I was putting out a project. So at that time, I had put out a project called Please Use Exact Change. It's the last rap project I've put out. Hopefully not ever, but the last one that I put out in 2021. And I was working with Greater Allen Cathedral in New York, one of the biggest churches in America, Black churches. And I was promoting the album, doing different things, met him, and, was able to promote that album and do some stuff with 300 Entertainment and Kevin Lyles. I've worked all over the industry. So this media is actually a pivot, right? Because I was not in the media space, but one of the things I always say is I always wanted to be. Like when I would be at an event and I would see different people doing media, in New York at the time, it was like Danielle Young or Gia Peppers or Scotty Beam. Like they were doing,
Yeah.
and they were doing a lot of media stuff, hosting and different things like that. And I would always say to myself, the talent, I would say, if I wasn't doing this, I would be doing that, right? So when podcasts started booming, I was like, all right, this is it. I'm going to start a podcast. It took me 3 years to start the podcast, but I was like, I'm going to start a podcast. First, it was supposed to be me and a friend, which God completely knew that wouldn't have made sense. And so he didn't allow that to start. And then this podcast, my podcast, I'll just let myself in, had a different name and a whole different thing. It was supposed to be called the Prayers Club, like the Players Club. And I had all of this. I had merch and all sorts of things. And then And then when I put my project out and met my husband, I kind of like took a break from all things creative. I was like, I'm in love with this man. I'm gonna focus on this relationship. That was a season. And after we got married, and I've told this story on my podcast, after we got married, he noticed that I was just kind of sad. Like he was like, his literal thing that he said to me, he said, "You're sad, and I know it's not me. So what do you need to feel better? Do you need to put out an album? What do you need to do? Because I know it's not us. And I feel like, you don't do well when you're not being creative." And he was right. And so he was like, if you need me to book you some studio time, like, what do you need? Like, do you need to call producers? Do you need to go to New York and, whatever, get with some of your old, because my manager was here. And I said, you know what? I actually think I just want to put out a podcast. This was in December of 2023. We got married in August of 2023. He said, okay, you want to put out a podcast? Okay. What does that look like? Let's talk it through. And we talked it through and I came up with the name. I'll just let myself in. Da, da, da. He said, okay, when do you want it to be out? I said, I don't know, by the end of Q1. I was just talking. I was really just talking. Right. And he was like, okay. By the end of March, we had recorded 8 episodes and the podcast was coming out. My husband does not play. He's an executor. I am not. I'm a fa la 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 la. I'm a dreamer. 17 things. Starters need finishers. Openers need closers. That's a lesson for another time, right? We think we're supposed to be one. No, I'm a starter. I have big dreams, big ideas.
Lish.
I can get anybody in the world to believe in me, to invest in me. Am I going to finish that thing? No. So it's my job to surround myself with friends, business partners who you may have to pay, coaches, in my case, a spouse, with a finisher, with a closer. That's my job. Because my husband can't get people to believe in his vision and pay for it and help it. That's not his thing. He don't want to do all of the smoozing and the kissing the babies and shaking the hands. I love that stuff. My favorite thing to do. Sit down and finish a proposal, finish a spreadsheet, write the checks, balance the checkbook, do the taxes. Yuck. So now my job is to surround myself. It doesn't have to be a spouse. It doesn't even have to be a friend. It could be somebody you pay. But as an opener, as a big idea person, as a starter, your job is to get some finishers around you. That's for free. Let's get back to the story. So once we started the podcast, I was in Atlanta. Atlanta's a friendly place. I called my friends. I called the people. I'm blessed enough to know a lot of movers and shakers. I said, listen, I'm starting a podcast. I need you to be a guest. I need you to come through. I need you to And people came through for me, and we filmed the 8 episodes before we even announced it. So by the time I announced it, we put an episode out the next day. I had 8 episodes ready to go for the first season. That season got the attention of Holy Culture Radio because they were playing my music. They were playing my music and realized I had a podcast. And we connected and worked through and got the show on Holy Culture Radio. I had, by that time, already filmed 12 episodes for season 2. So I had that in the bag. And then we went evergreen when we signed with Holy Culture Radio, which, for those of you who don't do podcasts, just means every week. And so we've been doing podcasts everywhere. We're in the 70s, we're almost at 80 episodes. And I started doing red carpets. Obviously, we met at the Stellars. I've done some stuff for BMI Trailblazers. I've done some stuff for shows and movies and just really bringing my love of storytelling. I'm a very curious person, and I think that's what makes me a good interviewer. I think I ask great questions because I actually care. I actually care. And I actually observe. And I can see what someone does in a split second and throw my little question out the window because I just saw you do something and I need to ask you about that. I just noticed your facial expression when the last person asked you something. So let me not ask you anything related to that because you clearly don't want to talk about that. I'm quick with that. I think it comes from being a middle child.
Yeah.
My head was on a swivel. My older sister got that going on. My younger sister got that on. My single mom is overwhelmed. Let me adjust. I can adjust myself very quickly. It might be a trauma response, but it's working for me. I can adjust myself very quickly to what the moment needs. And it serves me well. So, I work very hard. My day to day consists of a lot of research, a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, a lot of content because I also do talking head content and social media
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But the beautiful thing about me moving to New Jersey is that I'm able to do this full time now. When I was in Atlanta, I was in ministry full time. So that was 40 hours of my week. And like ministry at a church with a W-2, like a real thing. All
Oof.
ministry is a real
Yeah.
thing. That's not true. But like I was working at a church, you know what I mean? Who had to have a service every Sunday. And I was in charge of the order of service and all the worship team and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that I'm in New Jersey, I'm able to do this full time. Very blessed. We talked about this. So there's an episode my husband and I just did. We do an Into Love episode every year, and we just did ours a couple of weeks ago. So go check that out. But I'm very blessed to have someone who believes in my dreams. And when we came here, he was like, "Listen, I don't want you to go run and try to find some job, like unless it's a job in your industry, like." Unless you're going to work at a radio station or a television station, like you don't need to just go find some job. Do this. Go hard at this full time. So that's what I'm doing right now. It is not easy. I don't have the relationships that I had in Atlanta. But I'm building. And I
Yeah.
know that God rewards, hard work. And so that's what I'm trying. I'm trying to
Yeah.
steward my gifts well right now. So yeah.
That's so good. That's so good. You had me stuck when you said that people were friendly in Atlanta. I said, well, I said, whew. Hey, I had a very
At your
different
church?
journey.
Really?
I had a very
We
different
have to talk
journey.
on camera, girl.
Yeah, I experienced the friendliness here, and it shocked me actually, because I was like, oh my god, these people are so friendly. Like, I mean, I haven't been here a year, and you would think I've been here maybe 2 years. Just the
Mhm.
level of advancement and community, and I'm that's one thing that I
And
may
you're
not
in
have
Dallas. Where you?
everything. I'm in Dallas, yeah.
Dallas. Okay.
Yeah. I'm in Dallas,
Yeah.
so I'm in Texas, and that I just haven't experienced. Even people would tell me like, "Oh, it's mean girl energy here," and they're not girls, and I'm like, I ain't met nothing but girls. I don't. I'm not a. I can make a friend anywhere. That's just always been my character, but I did not experience that. I'll tell people that if you can build in Atlanta, you can
Yeah.
build anywhere. Like
I
that's
agree.
just what it is.
But I needed to hear.
It is you see what I'm saying? Like, you got those relationships because Atlanta is such a hub. It's such
Yeah.
it's a hub. It's a pinpoint of that visibility of those connections. People, this in the music industry, they'll just fly like, hey, let's go to the studio in Atlanta. Like
Mhm.
I gotta. So it's such a connection point there. But yeah, you had got me when you said that everybody's so friendly. I was like, whoa, like,
Yeah,
wait
the
a
people that
minute.
I encountered, I is gospel and CHH in Atlanta was very kind to me. I
I
don't know.
love it. I love that. I love it. No, it's a different show for different folks. I love my people. What I love about Atlanta that no place can touch, in my opinion, is just the black excellence,
Yes.
the business part of building.
Yeah.
It may be tough, but you can start and you can build there because there's
Yeah.
just so many resources and connections there. So that's what I love
You're
about that.
from there originally?
And I would Philly's like that.
No, I said, are you from
Would you say?
Atlanta originally?
No, I'm from Mobile, Alabama.
Okay. From Mobile, Alabama. Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
the South, the South, the South. But I knew my dreams was like it's gonna be way bigger than. Actually, in my internship, they said, where you want to go, you can't do it. Like you can't do it here. It's not a place for it. And so it was always Atlanta, 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 Atlanta. Some people are like, oh, LA, LA, LA. LA is like my thing. Like it's great, for acting and all the things. Because that's really my original passion, Lish. Like for real, I would leave. I would drop all of it. Would be acting.
Really? Are you
Yes,
act
acting.
are you taking any
I think
classes or doing anything?
I'm not. I gotta
You
take some
should.
classes. I did. I did.
Just
Yeah, I
start. Just
should.
see this out.
I need to
Just
start. I'm gonna make some connections here so that I can at least just get back. I was doing a little bit of it in Atlanta, but yeah, that's a
mhm.
passion. That's a passion. And
Yeah,
I feel like some seasons you're grinding, you're working, and then sometimes he allows us to kind of
yeah,
operate in passions. And so That's how the Be Real. So I kind of relate with you on when you said it took you 3 years to child. It took me forever to do this, like
Yeah,
forever.
yeah.
It's
I
not
love
easy.
acting as well. Acting is my only gift that scares me. I tell people this all the time.
Mm.
Acting frightens me, and I'm good at it, but it's too vulnerable. Like,
Yeah.
and it's too vulnerable, and it takes so much preparation. And one of my biggest flaws is that I don't like doing things that don't come easy. It's a flaw. I'm working on it. But when something is difficult, I'm like, oh, forget it. So even though I am a good actress from what I've been told, it's so hard that I'm like, child, give me the microphone. That's easy. I can do a podcast in my sleep. You know what I mean? I can do a red
I
carpet
love
in my,
it.
you know what I mean? It's hard work to
Yeah.
get to it. Once I'm there, I'm on. That acting, that hitting the marks, remembering them lines of the child, I'd be a ball of nerves. So, but yeah, you should definitely pursue it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely want to. And it's so funny. I'm a little different. I'll say, "Oh, this is too much," and then I'll pick it up and keep going. I'll pick it up and just keep on pushing. Because I remember the Lord telling me when I was when my time was ending in Atlanta, He was like, I've anointed you to do hard things.
Mm,
And I was like, what you said? I thought sometimes he'd be like, was that me? And he repeated himself. He said, I've anointed you to do hard things. And I didn't know, because I say this a lot, to move from the familiar place
yeah.
to a unfamiliar place completely, and to build no connections. I have family, but they not really checking for me like that, or I got friends or that I know, they're not really checking for me like that. But God sometimes will just literally completely move you to a whole new land. We see so many stories of it in the Bible, where He's like, He
Yes.
tells them to go. He tells you to go. He's
Yeah.
never called us to stay in one place. And so I remember Him telling me that. He's like, I've anointed you to do hard things. And so what that tells me, especially for those that are listening, and I'm sure you can agree, is that if he anointed you and gave you the gift to do hard things, don't you believe that he'll get you through that? He'll give you
Yeah.
everything that you need.
Yeah.
So that's what I
Yes,
try
he
to
will.
remind myself.
Yeah.
So you have blessed me. And what I want you to do is, for the one that's in the waiting, because there's some people that's waiting, Lish, baby, they are very frustrated in their waiting. What is a piece of advice, especially just over the next, we're going into a new month, we're going into a new season, summer. What is some advice you would give them in this season of waiting that they should do now in this new season?
Yeah. Well, before I give you advice, I want to tell you that your feelings are valid. It is hard. It is hard to see people get married constantly when that's something that you desire. It is hard for you to consistently see people hit milestones, whether that be, um, you know, having children or just celebrating holidays, matching pajamas. Like, it's hard. It's not easy for you to continue, and because of the world we live in, because of social media, to have to continue, right? Because unless you're going to just remove yourself and stay in a closet all day long, you're going to see people's wins on your timeline, and it's not easy. So I want the waiting woman to know that her feelings on her hard days are valid. What I also want you to know is God is just as good on your difficult days as He is on your best days. The God who is going to bless you with the desires of your heart, whatever they may be, is just as good as the God that is allowing you to wait. And my prayer is that you can find some peace in that. If I had any advice, and I have lots of it, but like the best piece of advice that I could give you as someone who waited between the time that I became a Christian and the time that I got married, outside of my husband, I only had one relationship. So I know what it's like to be single, single. Like, not single with a few guys on the side, not single with like a roster, not single and like still sleeping with somebody, like single, like nobody, phone dry, Nobody. I know no milk, no fat. Like I know what it's like, and to still be like a cool girl while doing it, like doing your thing, performing, whatever. The thing that really helped me on a personal level was my prayer life. I cannot overstate the importance of pouring out your heart to God. He can handle it. His feelings won't get hurt. You could tell him that you're mad at him. You could tell him that it's not fair. You could tell him, I'm done with you as long as you come back tomorrow. Okay? He can handle it. My prayer life and me being honest with God, pouring out my heart to God, being angry, being frustrated, being honest about my jealousy and envy, because these are things we don't like to talk about. We like to act like it's all good. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's hard. It's hard to see somebody 10 years younger than you be married for 10 years. You're like, okay, what am I doing? Like, you know what I mean? These things are hard. We got women in their 50s, 60s who wanted children and they feel like now that ship has sailed, who wanted marriage and didn't get it. It's not easy. And so you got to take that stuff to the Lord in prayer. And the last thing I'll say is you have to continue to be honest about the fact that you want it. This whole, oh, when you stop thinking about it, it's going to come, it's a lie. What hungry person stops thinking about food? Hello? I hate it when people said stuff like that to me when I was single, or, a big, I would call it a pet peeve, but it just grieves my spirit, to be honest, is when people say to single women, well, God didn't promise you marriage. Okay, but we would never say to a woman who is struggling with fertility, well, God didn't promise you a baby. It's insensitive. So cast out these ideas that, well, God didn't promise me marriage, and well, I just stopped wanting it so bad, maybe it'll happen. None of that is actually biblical. The Bible says that if you seek him first, right, he will give you the desires of your heart. So it's okay to have desires of your heart. Just make sure you get the first part right, which is the prayer life, which is whatever that looks like for you, whether that's serving in your local church or community, whether that's, helping your family, whatever it looks like to seek God first in your life, do that. But be honest about what you want. Be honest in prayer. Be honest in conversation. You don't need to be obsessed, but be honest, and I think that God blesses that honesty. My best friend set up this blind date with who became my husband because I was honest with her. Now, mind you, she's almost 5 years younger than me, got married a decade before me, and I did not let that make me weird with her. I was still like, girl, pray for me, pray with me. We prayed together, and her husband was praying for me to find a husband. Like, I was honest about the fact that this is something that I wanted. And so she knew that I was open, and she ended up setting me up on plenty of dates. And then this one finally. And so just be honest about what you want. Be prayerful about what you want. Show up for yourself, because you teach people how to treat you by the way you treat yourself. And trust and believe that God wants to give you his best. It is God's pleasure to bless you. It's not something that he's just like, I guess I'll just give them like, it is his pleasure. I think about like the time I give somebody I love a really good gift, or something that I know they wouldn't buy themselves or can't afford to do themselves. Like, I'm big on like taking people to concerts and different things like that, like surprising people with that. People that I'm very close to, not just any old body. Because I know, like, man, you would never spend this much money on a concert ticket, but I know you really want to see this artist, or you would never buy this expensive thing for yourself, but I know you really want it. The joy that I feel when I'm able to do that for someone, I imagine God infinitely more joyous to bless me with something that he knows I just can't get myself. For some people, that's marriage. For some people, that's career. So I just want you to know, pray in faith that you're praying to someone who wants to answer the prayer. It's not a bother to him. He's not frustrated. He's not annoyed with you. He doesn't think you're overdoing it. You know what I mean? Like, God is okay with the duality of being enough for you while you still want something else as well. He's okay with that. It's not an affront to him, and and he will give you the desires of your heart when you put him first. And so acknowledge him in all your ways, lean not on your own understanding, and allow him to bless you. For more advice, follow me at Lish Speaks on Instagram. Yeah.
Listen, my Lord, y'all. I feel like with our guests, we get a little bit of therapy here, and I love that for us. I feel, I believe that life is a journey, and that's the goal here, is to walk people through a journey and to have them to really think about what they're doing in their lives. And so a few things that I took, y'all, and I hope you guys take, is that God can take it all. He can take any prayer request, any frustration, anything. And while we're, leashing out to our friends and family members and in the car, we need to be bringing it to him and being transparent and being vulnerable, because that's who he is to us. And I took so much from that. So let me tell you something. She blessed me. Okay. She encouraged me. She motivated me. And y'all, I hope you guys can, take this episode, really think about it, really evaluate, and really think about, what am I really willing to pivot? Am I willing to be uncomfortable, to see, really see this through, see what God is going to do in all be all, but also, am I content? Am I content? Am I complaining? Am I frustrated? Like, really evaluate where you are. Because in life, it comes with the ebbs and flows. It comes with being happy one day and sad one day. And what I love about what she said was that your feelings are valid. Like, everything that you're feeling in this moment or have been feeling is valid. And he already knows it. So you might as well just talk to him about it, because that's what he's there for, and put him first. So y'all know what we do. As I always tell you at the end of the episode, is to be real, spread the honey, and just be you. See you guys next time.